Listen to me very carefully. The harder you chase it, the faster it runs away from you. This is the ultimate paradox of human achievement, a psychological law so immensely powerful, yet so deliberately hidden from the masses, that most people will spend their entire lives exhausted, running on a treadmill of absolute desperation, and never understand why they are getting nowhere. You have been taught from the moment you could understand words that success, wealth, freedom, and respect are things you must aggressively hunt down. You have been told to grind, to sweat, to bleed for it, to grasp at it with everything you have, to reach out into the void and try to pull it toward you by force. But look at the reality of the world around you. Look at the people who are constantly, frantically chasing money. They are almost always broke. Look at the people who are desperately chasing validation, love, and respect. They are almost always empty, lonely, and ignored. Why does this happen? Why does the universe seem to punish the very people who want it the most? Because the very act of chasing implies one fundamental devastating truth. It implies that you do not have it. Chasing is a constant, screaming, subconscious declaration of absence. It is a broadcast of lack. And your subconscious mind, the invisible engine that dictates every single result in your reality, only multiplies the state you are already in. When you operate from a place of intense need, you literally reek of desperation. You emit a frequency of scarcity, and desperation is the ultimate repellent in this universe. It repels opportunity, it repels capital, it repels the right people. It pushes away the exact things you are trying to attract, creating an endless cycle of reaching and missing. Have you ever stopped to observe how the global elite, the true architects of society, actually operate? Have you ever noticed what they do not do? They do not panic. They do not beg. They do not frantically chase after trends or plead for a seat at the table. They understand a core principle of physics and psychology that the masses are deliberately kept blind to. They operate with the cold, silent, terrifying confidence of gravity. Think about the cosmos. A massive planet does not chase its moons. It does not move wildly through space trying to catch things. It simply possesses enough mass, enough dense, quiet power, that everything else is mathematically forced to fall into its orbit. You have spent your entire life acting like a frantic meteor, burning yourself out as you shoot across the sky, hoping to crash into success. You must stop being the meteor. You must start being the planet. But society is not designed to let you realize this. The proxy managers of power in this world, the ones who control the flow of information and the structure of our daily lives, want you to remain in a state of perpetual anxiety. They have engineered a culture of endless hustle, a matrix of exhaustion, because a tired, desperate person is a fundamentally controllable person. A desperate person makes emotional, weak, short-sighted decisions. A desperate person will take the terrible job, accept the bad deal, buy the useless product, and remain trapped in the cycle of consumerism, all because they are terrified of falling behind. They have programmed you to believe that if you just run a little faster, if you just sacrifice a little more of your sanity, you will finally catch the carrot dangling in front of you. But the string is tied to your own back. The faster you run, the faster the prize moves away. To break this curse, to shatter this invisible prison, you must master the ancient and ruthless law of detachment. This is where most people completely misunderstand the concept. Detachment does not mean you stop working. It does not mean you become passive, lazy, or apathetic. It does not mean you sit in a dark room and wait for the universe to hand you $1 billion. Absolutely not. It means you completely, surgically sever your internal peace from the external outcome. It means you execute your daily tasks with absolute, relentless, cold-blooded precision, but you do it without the suffocating, anxious need for an immediate reward. You put in the heavy, unglamorous, brutal hours when no one is watching. You build your empire brick by agonizing brick. You refine your skills until you are undeniably lethal in your field. But you do it with a completely different internal posture. Think about a starving hunter in the wilderness. His hands shake. His breathing is erratic and shallow. His eyes are wide with panic. When he draws his bow, he misses the target. Not because he lacks the skill, but because his entire physical survival depends on that single shot. The tension destroys his accuracy. Now think about the master marksman, the one who is already fed, the one who knows his own capability. His pulse is slow. His mind is like a mirror, perfectly still. He hits the dead center every single time because he is not controlled by the desperate need for the outcome. He is only focused on the pure mechanics of the execution. The starving hunter focuses on the meat. The master marksman focuses on the technique. You must kill the starving hunter inside of you. You must ruthlessly eradicate the beggar in your own mind. You must stop approaching your goals with open, trembling hands, waiting for the world to finally validate your existence. Instead of waking up and frantically thinking, I hope I get this today, I need this to happen, what if it fails? You must fundamentally rewire your neurological pathways to say, I am executing my blueprint, and the result is an inevitable mathematical certainty. That shift in frequency, from hoping to knowing, from wishing to commanding, from chasing to attracting, changes the entire atmospheric pressure of your reality. When you truly detach, something terrifying and beautiful happens. You become dangerous. A person who does not need external validation cannot be manipulated. A person who is perfectly content in their own silence, who is building their own value without demanding applause, becomes a massive threat to the system of mediocrity. People will begin to look at you differently. They will sense the absence of fear. They will sense that you are no longer playing by the desperate rules they are trapped in. When you stop chasing money and instead focus entirely on becoming a person of immense, irreplaceable value, money has no choice but to flow to you, because money is simply an exchange of energy for value. When you stop chasing relationships out of loneliness and instead become completely whole, secure, and formidable on your own, the right people will naturally gravitate toward your light, because absolute self-reliance is the most intoxicating trait a human being can possess. But getting to this state requires a brutal internal transformation. It requires the death of your ego. The ego is the part of you that insists on the chase. It is the voice that says, look at me, acknowledge me, give me what I am owed. You must starve that voice. You must enter a period of absolute isolation, a profound quiet, where the only voice you hear is your own command. You have to be willing to disappear for a while. Disappear from the crowds, disappear from the noise, disappear from the endless cycle of proving yourself to people whose opinions do not matter. In this silence, you will face the giant shadows of your own insecurities. You will feel the urge to run back to the noise, to check the metrics, to seek the quick hit of dopamine that comes from external approval. Do not move. Hold the line. Every time you refuse to chase, you build internal gravity. Every time you focus on your work instead of the reward, you increase your mass. This is the great secret of the elite. They do not wish, they do not hope. They build the infrastructure for success, and then they stand firm, knowing that the laws of nature will do the rest. They understand that success is not a wild animal to be hunted. It is a crop to be cultivated. You prepare the soil. You plant the seed. You water it with daily, unbreakable discipline. And then you step back. You do not stand over the soil screaming at the seed to grow. You do not dig it up every morning to see if the roots have formed. You trust the process. You let the natural laws of cause and effect take over. The desperation you feel right now is the only thing keeping you from the exact life you want. It is a heavy chain wrapping around your ankles, dragging you to the bottom of the ocean while you mistakenly believe it is a lifeline. Let go of the chain. Let go of the timeline you created in your head. Let go of the need to be a millionaire by a certain age, or to have a specific title by next year. Those arbitrary deadlines are poison to your execution. They create friction. They create panic. The universe does not operate on your fabricated schedule. It operates on readiness. It operates on capacity. When you have truly built the capacity to hold immense power, that power will be delivered to you. Look at your life right now. Look at the areas where you are experiencing the most friction, the most pain, the most frustration. I guarantee you those are the exact areas where you are gripping the hardest. Those are the areas where your knuckles are white with desperation. You are trying to force doors open that are not meant for you, or are not ready to be opened. Take a step back. Drop your hands. Breathe. You must realize that you are already complete. You have within you a dormant energy source of unimaginable density, but this energy cannot flow through a mind that is constantly constricted by fear and need. From this moment forward, your entire paradigm must change. When you walk into a room, you do not walk in wondering what you can get from the people there. You do not walk in trying to impress anyone. You walk in knowing exactly who you are, and you let your presence speak for itself. When you work on your projects, you do not work with the frantic hope that this one will finally be the viral hit, the breakthrough, the saving grace. You work on it because it is your craft, because it is an extension of your relentless dedication to excellence. If it fails, you do not crumble, because your identity is not tied to the result. You simply analyze the data, adjust the blueprint, and execute the next phase. This is how empires are built, not with frantic energy, but with cold, sustained, detached momentum. The people who try to pull you back into the race will hate this new version of you. They will call you arrogant. They will call you distant. They will say you have changed. Let them. They are operating on a completely different, lower frequency. They are still trapped in the illusion that motion equals progress. They are running on the treadmill, sweating, panting, looking at you standing still on solid ground, and they cannot comprehend why you are moving forward while they are stuck in place. Do not explain the physics of gravity to someone who refuses to look up from the dirt. Just keep building your mass. It all comes down to a daily choice. Will you wake up and operate from a mindset of lack, scanning the horizon for what you do not have, plotting how to chase down the next fleeting goal? Or will you wake up, anchor yourself in absolute certainty, and simply execute the day's demands with the supreme confidence of someone who already owns the future? The choice seems simple, but it is the hardest shift a human mind can make. It requires you to act against every primitive instinct of survival you possess. It requires you to stand completely still in the face of uncertainty. But if you can master this, if you can truly internalize the paradox of success, you will unlock a level of reality that very few human beings ever experience. You will stop fighting the current and start directing the river. You will no longer be a victim of circumstance, reacting to every setback with panic and despair. You will become the architect of your own paradigm. The things you once bled for will begin to show up on your doorstep, seemingly without effort. The opportunities you once begged for will be offered to you with respect because you stopped chasing, because you stopped running, because you finally realized that the ultimate prize was never out there in the world waiting to be caught. The ultimate prize was the absolute, unshakable mastery of your own internal state. So stop running, stop grasping, stop begging the universe to give you what you already have the power to create. Draw a line in the earth today. Command your mind to be still. Command your spirit to detach from the noise. Focus all of your terrifying, brilliant energy on the quiet, daily, ruthless execution of your purpose. Build your core. Build your gravity. Become a force of nature so dense, so resolute, and so undeniable that everything you ever desired has no choice but to surrender to your pull. The chase is over. The rain begins now.